Today I'll be doing the 3M Headlight Restoration Kit. This is the drill attachment kit that I got on Amazon for about $15. This is what it looks like. As you can see, these headlights on the Forester are incredibly fogged out. What you're going to need besides what comes in the kit is some masking tape to mask off the headlights if you're not pulling them off the car, a spray bottle with some soapy water, and a drill, preferably one with a handle so you can get a more sturdy grip on it as you're going back and forth. What the kit comes with, some polishing compound. This is 500 grit. It comes with 6 pads of that. Comes with 800 grit, 4 pads of that. This is a 3000 grit, and then this is a foam polisher for the polishing compound. It also has the Velcro adhesive, whatever you want to call it, drill attachment. Start by masking off your headlights if you're not taking them off the car. Go 2 layers thick on the masking tape. If you hit it with the sanding pad too many times, you'll tear right through it. You'll damage your paint. The paint's obviously not that pretty on this car, but it doesn't make sense to just mar the hell out of it for the fun of it. Once you get to this point, clean off your headlight using the soapy water and a microfiber cloth, and then after that, put the attachment onto the drill, and then you put on the 500 grit sandpaper and you get going. So I've been going at this one headlight for a while now. I did have to change out my pad at one point. I'm just trying to keep the pad constantly clean to keep it working a bit better. You can see here, this is why you want a couple layers of tape. Is right there, you're going to rip through it right on the edges, especially in these corners and these areas with odd profiles. It's going to look a little foggy, but obviously it's covered with dust. This is still a little damp, just going to wipe it off. As you can see, it's definitely got these micro scratches from the sanding you just did. But what you're really looking for here is that there's no yellow, there's no noticeable scratches or defects that are left that were otherwise there when you started this process. If it's still looking yellow now, it's definitely still going to have that yellow hue at the end. Just keep going with the 500 grit until all the yellow, all the scratches that you want out are actually out. So you can see maybe down here, you know, a little bit of yellow there on this odd profile. That I'm not worried about because frankly you're never going to see that anyway, and let's be real here, this car's got other issues. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up to the white discs. Those are the 800 grit. I'm going to resume with that. I'm going to get this light done first and then move on to the next one. This is what it looks like after the 800 grit and after I did a wet wiping of it with the microfiber cloth. As you can see, it's got much smaller, more minute scratches in it right now. This is just, if you see a line, it's from me tracing it with my fingernails, seeing if I could feel a difference. After this, what you do is you switch over to the 3000 grit sandpaper. And what you want to do is if you're getting kind of a white slurry look, you only want to do about 6 more passes or so. If you don't get that look, you're going to do 10 to 12 passes over this whole thing. Before you do that, you want to spray down both the lens and the pad itself with enough water that it's damp. You don't want it dripping wet, but you want it just to have a nice little layer of lubrication as you're making those passes. Then about 6 or 7 passes with the 3000 grit, which is this dark grayish color. You take a wet towel or a microfiber cloth, you wipe it off after. The headlight's actually starting to look really good at this point. This is kind of what you're looking for the 3000 grit. Every time I did a pass, I would respray both the sanding pad and I'd spray down the towel, wipe the headlight down again, make sure they both stayed well lubricated. If you don't, you're just going to continually leave scratches across the surface. So you really want to make sure you have that lubrication between the pad and the headlight housing. After you're done with the 3000, just wipe the lens down real quick. This is the foam attachment that you're going to put on, and you're going to put it says about a dime size piece of the polishing compound on it. I accidentally went a little above that. You're going to rub it around first before you even turn on the drill. So you're going to smear that all around the headlight, try to disperse it, or else it's just going to splatter everywhere and make a freaking mess. Then you're going to do a couple passes with this polisher, and that should get rid of all the haziness on the headlight. I didn't film it because I can't do it with one hand, but that's what I mean. You just gotta take this and just smear it around so it's nice and thin spread. Then you're gonna do the same thing where you make your passes with this. I'm not gonna show it because I can't get the correct camera angle. Here's how it looks after you take the polishing compound to it. You wanna take your microfiber cloth, clean it off, and clean up any residue, and then you should be just about done. If you get to this point and you're still seeing scratches of any size, basically just go back to the appropriate size grit paper to take those out. If they're the coarse ones you're still seeing, you're going to go all the way back to the 500. If you're just seeing a couple micro scratches and they're bad enough to bother you, either the 800 or the 3000, depending on how bad they are. But if you're happy with it, and I am in this case because it's good enough for what I'm doing with it, you're going to want to add some sort of a protectant or a sealant. You can either add a synthetic wax over this, and the wax holds up pretty good, but again, you're going to have to re-wax it every couple months. Or what I'll be doing is I'll be putting a UV resistant clear coat over the top of this just to seal it like it is and add that extra layer of protection, and then wax over that. Before I get the clear coat, here's a little point of comparison. This is the finished headlight. It's actually reasonably clean. Here's the other one. This is what it looked like when we started. So it's safe to say substantial improvement. It's actually not that bad. It's a little time consuming just to get the right number of passes down, but these headlights were about $170 for a set. This kit for the polishing was about 15 bucks. So honestly, for a couple hours of work, saving $150 because I'm doing it myself, I think that's well worth the money. Clearly this has some great results if you're doing it correct. I'm not going to show it, but I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. If you're doing the clear coat, you just got to mask a little more and then just spray it over. It comes in a spray can, and that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching.